Thanks for joining us. I'm Becca Habiger in for Alex Bell, and this is To the Point. We talk about it often on this show, homelessness in Sacramento County. It's one of our area's biggest crises. Now it's believed one unhoused person dies every 2 days in this county. Tonight, the Sacramento Regional Coalition to End Homelessness is honoring those lives outside Sacramento City Hall. Our Alicia Machado joins us live with tonight's main point. Alicia?
Good evening, Becca. That vigil set to start in about 30 minutes here outside of Sacramento City Hall tonight. This candlelight vigil to honor nearly 100 unhoused residents in the county who died this year, to make sure that they are not forgotten. 93 of those living on the streets of Sacramento County died in just the first half of the year alone, according to the new report from the Sacramento Regional Coalition to End Homelessness. Last year, 8 people froze to death, and this year, 1 person died from hypothermia. The coalition's executive director is pushing for the city to expand the reach of their programs and warming centers. Take a listen.
Open up empty buildings. We've got lots of unused office buildings. The city and the county need to create programs to scale.
Now, in addition to those deaths from the cold weather, drug use, as well as natural causes, also part of those causes of death under this report. The county acknowledges that more needs to be done to ease the homeless crisis and says they will have new resources within the next year. We'll have more on that, as well as an update on this vigil tonight on Late News tonight at 11.
Yeah, Alicia, I know speaking with Bob in the past, he has said housing. That is what the county needs. Thank you so much, Alicia. You know, just hours ago, we spoke to the county about places of refuge for the unhoused. We are told 4 warming center locations remain open across the county. We're getting those locations published right now on abc10.com/tothepoint. Meanwhile, the federal government is now paying more attention to our housing and homelessness crises. Newly published numbers show California has the highest rate of homelessness in the country. Let's look at these numbers. The report shows California is home to 30% of the country's homeless population. It also found 44 out of every 10,000 people in the state are homeless. That's about 1 in every 250 people. And California had the largest increase in its homeless population between 2020 and 2022, going up by more than 6%. The president has rolled out a skeleton plan that he says will cut down on homelessness by 25% by 2025. But the full details of it aren't yet clear. Today, the family of a man who died after Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies arrested him earlier this month announced they are pursuing legal action against Sacramento County and its sheriff's office. Now, we've been following this story since the very beginning right here on To the Point. I personally have been in touch with the family over the course of the past 2 weeks as they watched their grandfather, father, son, and loved one slip away on life support. Sharano Stingley died on Friday. The family wants answers and justice.
That was my son. I shouldn't even be here today, but I'm here.
Here is the family of Sharano Stingley on Wednesday announcing plans to sue the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. It stems from Stingley's arrest in the early morning of December 6th.
Get on the ground! I'm on the ground.
Deputies were responding to a 911 call from the person who lives in this home in the 7500 block of Whisper Willow Drive, just a few blocks from Stockton Boulevard and Gerber Drive. They reported a man under their work truck. Stingley initially complies, but then a struggle ensues. By the 4th minute, Stingley appears unconscious.
Hey, wake up!
He was taken to the hospital where he was put on life support and never woke up.
I'm 20. I'm never getting my dad back.
Stingley's family says they believe deputies should have de-escalated the interaction before it led to Stingley becoming unconscious. Stingley's daughter, who lives down the block from where the arrest happened, says her dad was having a mental health crisis at the time and was frantically trying to find her home and car where he would sometimes seek refuge. She says her dad got confused about which home he was at and that this video from another neighbor's security camera that morning supports that, showing Stingley disoriented and talking to himself. ABC 10 has asked the sheriff's office about Stingley's arrest several times. Keep in mind, this happened under the leadership of now former Sheriff Scott Jones. Since then, Jim Cooper has taken over as sheriff. He had this to say to ABC 10 on Friday.
My 5th day in office, so still getting briefed on things, and we'll take a look at it once the investigation is complete, but it's really hard to comment now on it when it's still in its infancy.
And the family wants all body camera video released, not just the one angle, then that one deputy in the video released by the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. We've asked the Sheriff's Office whether a taser was used. You can see a deputy picking one up at the end of the video they released. The Sheriff's Office says they won't comment until the investigation is over, and they won't comment on pending litigation. We'll continue covering this story. When we come back, a carpenter in Lodi is helping high schoolers blaze new paths toward a successful future. For many of us who went to public high school, that includes me, the message has been the same for decades, that going to college is the way to get ahead and be successful. But there's a growing realization around the country that skilled trades can offer rewarding and lucrative careers. It's why Lodi High School teamed up this year with a local custom cabinetry shop, Weber Company, to teach students valuable skills, from drafting a plan and measuring materials to assembling projects they can take home to their families. Here's our Luke Clary.
What I'm going to want you to do first, as you're prepping, because your box is going to get
Let
smaller.
class begin. Everybody get your pencils. Make sure you can see the chalkboard. And don't forget your bandsaw.
Wait, do I go through the line?
Maria Meza is a senior at Lodi High School.
Before this class, had you ever done something like
No,
this?
this is the first time.
She's working on a heart and one of 15 students learning woodworking skills from Liam Bocardo.
It's nice to see because it's been hard to find people.
He's the foreman at Weber Company, a small mom and pop building custom cabinets since 1972.
Perfect.
But when he was their age, a college education was sold as the only way to get ahead.
In retrospect, I wish there would have been more push when I was in high school to look at the trades, because I probably would have gone this way.
Recognizing today's marketplace will need to have carpenters, machinists, and woodworkers, the district teamed up with the hometown woodshop.
What do you think about as you're watching these?
I love it.
Lodi construction technology teacher Phil Luttrell is bullish about the skilled trades.
This is a potential career path for a lot of young people.
Absolutely.
Building and construction trades is a brand new pathway at Lodi Unified, now only in its third year. It doesn't get any more hands-on than this.
When you get to this point, you're going to have to do that by hand.
For these kids to try and see whether they like it or not. And yeah.
And students aren't just using these power tools for the hands-on experience, they're actually putting together projects like this. Take a look, the keys hang here, the mail goes in this slot. This is something they can actually bring home to their families and really use.
That one right here.
Junior Callum Ross has learned some new skills he's excited to use at home.
Yes, I'm also looking at this for a potential career in the future as well.
A class that cuts against the grain of conventional wisdom, offering an alternative to the college track.
What they learn in this class will carry over any trade. If they wanted to stay in the trades, what they're going to learn here is going to carry over.
It was a little bit choppy for my first time, but I think it looks really good.
It's not the academic grind, but through the cloud of sawdust and buzz of power tools, these students may find a career path worth taking.
Everyone's got it? So, what you want to do?
Oh, that's so great, Luke. And I love how those things they can take home to their families are very functional as well as beautiful. Luke, another reason for this hometown collaboration is that Lodi High School hasn't had a woodshop program in years, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so Mr. Luttrell, the construction teacher who you saw there, was instrumental in bringing it back, in part through this program. And the woodshop gets something out of this too. They say that it's been tough recruiting the next generation of woodworkers, and maybe programs like these will get more young people interested.
Yeah, and that's really the point of programs like these, is to expose kids to these career tracks they might not have otherwise learned about, right?
Well, just take the story of Liam Bocardo, for instance, the foreman there. He actually got the message in school that we all did, that college was the way to get ahead. In fact, he went ahead and got his degree from UOP and worked as an analytical chemist for 12 years before deciding it wasn't for him. So he worked through his apprenticeship, and he's now a journeyman at Weber, building cabinets, working with his hands, and making about as much as he did in his old career. He says if he'd been exposed to workshop or programs like these at an earlier age, he may have gone down this path from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think it's important for these young people to know that, like you said, it can be a lucrative career option for them as well. Luke, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, ethical engagement rings and why they're becoming so popular this winter. Across the nation, blizzard warnings are in effect for the Plain States and the upper Midwest, including for my family in Minnesota. Tomorrow, the storm keeps moving east. It's already making holiday travel more difficult. Flight tracking website FlightAware says there's been about 6,500 flights delayed across the country today, and close to 500 have been canceled. Monica, I know we were talking yesterday about holiday travel. This is going to make things tough for a lot of people.
Certainly is, and it is cold as well. You wondered about where some of those winter storm warnings and blizzard warnings are. Well, they're all throughout the Great Lakes states, as you can see, stretching all the way through parts of Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, some of the bigger connection areas. Not so much in Denver, but there are some travel potential delays there with a winter storm warning just outside the city. Low pressure system bringing not only the cold air, but also windy conditions. Could be one of the coldest Christmas Eves on record for much of the Great Lakes and stretching through the northern plains with wind chills. How does it feel to the exposed skin? About 10 to 30 degrees below zero. It's going to be very cold for folks across that part of the country. Now, conversely, we're going to be seeing a warming trend. 62 our forecast high for Christmas with foggy flying weather. The warmest on record, 65 for Sacramento to right around 64 degrees. So you can see it's going to be on the warmer side for us here. Coldest was 38 degrees and the wettest about 2.5 inches for Christmas Day. We're not going to see that much rain coming our way in the short term, but the long term shifts our pattern quite a bit. Average high 55 degrees. We've been sitting in the 40s and 50s for the past several days here. You can see it region wide. A cold day for today, the first day of winter. 40s and 50s for the foothills. 30s and 40s for this year. We've had 15 days below average conditions for our month of December. Now that's going to put us about 2.5 to almost 3 degrees below where we should be for the entire month. Out in the Gilmore backyard currently, we have cloudy skies with temperatures in the 40s for the valley. Tahoe at 26 degrees, expecting some snow next week, but tomorrow we'll keep it on the dry side through most of the day. We have a slight chance of bringing some showers on through. That'll be later in the forecast tomorrow. We're 3 days and counting to Christmas Eve. Then right after that, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Eve. Big travel period here. If you're headed towards the coast, we've got a coastal flood advisory in effect tomorrow through Sunday. The king tides are going to be bringing some higher water levels along the coast. We're likely going to be much warmer in the long-term forecast, but leaning wetter. We've got a series of atmospheric rivers getting poised to move on through, most of them hitting just to the north of us until we get to next week. At that point, here it comes. Monday into Tuesday, our wettest storm of the week, and that's followed by some wetter and warmer storms. That could have some problems for some of that snow melt in the high country. So we're going to be watching major travel impacts and possibly some low-lying flooding as well. You want to check those drains, travel conditions, carry chains and emergency kit, check the pressure and tread on your tires, and reconsider those outdoor activities. Highs in the 40s and 50s up high and through the hills. We're in the 50s and 60s for the coast and for the valley as well. 5-day forecast for the mountains. We pick up that rain and snow for the foothills. It's rain by Monday as well as coast. And then for our 10-day forecast, again, it is going to be dry for the first holiday weekend. Rain returning next week.
Well, Monica, luckily, as the Irving Berlin song says, I've got my love to keep me warm. And that brings us to our next story. It's the holidays, and that means it's proposal season. About 2 out of 5 engagements happen in these 2.5 months between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. Over the past few years, more people have been getting engaged with lab-grown diamonds. Have you heard of those? Well, Van 2 tells us why consumers are embracing these human-made gems that are becoming increasingly available at jewelry retailers.
The engagement ring, a symbol of love, a circle with no end, topped by a brilliant diamond. When Lindsay Rinesmith and Jason Payne were discussing marriage, she had one ask when it came to this step in marking their commitment to each other.
I told Jason that if he proposed with a mine diamond that I would say no. And it was very important to me that I had a ring that symbolized our love in a way that was free from diamond mining.
Seeking a more eco-conscious and conflict-free alternative, the couple decided they wanted lab-grown diamonds, but found there was no consumer market for these high-tech, man-made gems. That was a decade ago.
So we set out to create the company we wish had existed when we went through our process.
They entered the diamond business, launching Ada Diamonds in San Francisco as early adopters of ethically sourced man-made diamonds for jewelry.
An important thing to understand is that a man-made diamond is a diamond. It is a crystal of carbon. It materially has the same properties as a natural diamond, the same fire, the same brilliance, the same sparkle.
Instead of forming in the earth millions or billions of years ago, synthetic diamonds can be grown in labs in a matter of weeks. Lab-grown diamonds look identical to natural diamonds to the unaided eye and typically needs advanced laboratory testing to be identified. Like natural diamonds, lab-grown diamonds vary in quality among the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat.
Lab-grown diamonds, just like mine diamonds, are going to vary in their price based on their qualities. These diamonds here are all going to be around the range of $20,000 because these are very high quality. But you can certainly find 3-carat lab diamonds on the marketplace that are much less expensive, closer to $13,000, $14,000, that are of lower quality.
Lab diamonds are sold at a fraction of the price of mine diamonds, which are a big selling point for their growing popularity. There's fear within the natural diamonds industry that consumers will start accepting lab-grown diamonds in the bridal sector. But it's already happening, according to Adon Golan, an independent diamond industry analyst.
I had a conversation with a bunch of jewelers in 2016, and I asked them, will you introduce lab-grown into your offerings? And the answer of all of them was, God forbid, no. I mean, I'm a luxury retailer and I won't bring in synthetic diamonds. And in 2017, we started to hear from them a different tune.
He says the market for man-made diamonds is here to stay. Even though they make up only roughly 10% of diamond sales, interest is growing.
The biggest growth sprout we saw was actually during COVID.
Jewelry sales increased when other luxuries like travel weren't available. Golan said those with money to spare spent it on jewelry, especially earrings, which could be seen on Zoom computer screens. He says consumer trends continue to shift.
Instead of buying the same for less, they started to buy more for the same. In other words, this is my budget. Instead of pocketing the difference, let's get a bigger diamond, with higher clarity.
Lab-grown diamond sales continue to surge while natural diamond sales are declining, but Golan doesn't expect one to overtake the other. Instead, he sees a bifurcation of the diamond industry. After all, diamonds are forever.
So these brilliant synthetic gems are going mainstream, billed as a more affordable, sustainable, and ethical choice over natural mined diamonds. But, and there's always a but, critics say the amount of energy it would take to produce commercial quantities of human-made diamonds comes with its own problems. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, it's been a tough year for the farm workers who help put food on our tables. But it's even tougher with Christmas right around the corner. So today, Líderes Campesinas visited several farm fields where these families work, delivering gifts and toys. Roxanne Elias was there to see their smiles and hear from their grateful hearts.
In an intentional holiday campaign, hundreds of farm workers and their families are being showered with Christmas gifts.
I've been a mother and father for 15 years, and I'm very grateful.
The annual event is known as Compassine Xmas. It's led by Líderes Campesinas, a statewide network of women farm work leaders.
Helping parents, too, that can't afford gifts. It's a big deal, and many of them end up really in tears sometimes just because they don't expect anything, but when they see us now that they've seen us for the last 3 years, they just feel so happy.
To make things easier for the farm workers, volunteers deliver toys, bicycles, and clothes directly to the fields where they make a living.
Very happy and content. Sometimes we have money for some things, but sometimes they want other things. And they give them the opportunity to choose, and also to choose for my niece who didn't come.
Especially after the difficult year it's been with the pandemic, followed by the rise in inflation.
Because there's not a lot of work, and the season. It's difficult because of that.
We're learning is that many farm workers even don't have warm clothing, right? Shoes that might be a little warmer.
Families say the gifts will allow them not to worry so much about paying the rent and putting food on their table.
May they keep blessing families with gifts, because kids are the future, and this is something that they're going to remember forever. And how beautiful.
Well, that's To The Point for this Wednesday night. As always, tell us what's going on in your community. Let me know. I've got Instagram and Facebook at Becca Reports, or you can just shoot the team an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night.
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.